Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here. So today we're going to be reacting to Aztecross's Destiny 2 Must Die. Um, Now, I was planning on doing an independent, my own video on this whole situation, on, everything and whatnot, and I even recorded it and whatnot, but I think he has a little bit more of a concise thing, because obviously he's a bigger YouTuber than I am. Like, it's easier to do this than for me, but we're going to go ahead and react to this video. This is going to be the second video I dropped this week. After, watch through this video, I am going to be discussing future plans for the channel. Like, am I going to still be sticking with 2 uploads a week if possible? But let's go ahead and just get into it here.
It is currently February 2026. Here I am, standing before what's left of the Destiny community. Now, I know, I might be coming off a bit dramatic right now, but it ain't looking too hot, fellas.
No. If you look at Steam charts, we're at about a third of the average player counts than we were, like, during the entire year of Final Shape. We're at about a third. Because it used to hit 30k numbers. Like, 30k used to be low. 30k out of the average players used to be low. But now, like, we're into the, we're less than 15 on a Friday. So,
saying, man, if you go look at any of the numbers online, we can rationalize about it all.
I don't know where he's getting this, though, but 24-hour peak at least last, like before, or, like, around 1 o'clock on Friday when I checked. It was around 12k, I believe, and the 24-hour peak was 13. So
long, but I think we all have to come to the conclusion that Destiny is not thriving anymore. It's barely hanging on. And the reality is that Destiny doesn't have the luxury that it had a decade ago. Other games are all around us, and they're good games. Even games that are directly competing with Destiny. Warframe, for instance, is continuing to pop off. Hell, Destiny Rising, which is a mobile version of Destiny, even that is taking a slice out of the Destiny community. And for good reason. That game has...
I think if Destiny Rising actually gets a PC port, it could very well be GG's for Destiny 2. Like, the problem with Destiny Rising is that it's just strictly mobile and there's no PC port at all. That's the biggest problem with it. Like, you have to use an emulator in order to really do anything with it. Otherwise, I think the game could very well be very popular, if not even more so than Destiny. I will say, also one of the luxuries is players don't stick to one genre anymore. Right, a lot of gamers don't necessarily stick to one strict genre anymore. Especially like Destiny, and like you don't strictly stick to Destiny likes or anything, right? And I feel like that even goes for like Souls games as well. You're not going to stick strictly to actual true Souls games and Souls likes necessarily, because Code Vein is not a Souls like. Neither, like, a lot of these games that a lot of people say is a Souls like are not actual Souls like. They are action games that are just difficult for the sake of being difficult. Because a lot of them are missing quite a lot of aspects of actual traditional Souls-likes too. So a lot of people are diversifying their portfolios, and there are just games at this point that are just better than Destiny 2. There just are. There's just too many games that are better than Destiny 2 right now.
So many great features, especially social features that we've been begging for since 2014. The reality is that right now, Bungie's biggest focus is Marathon. And I get it. Yeah. Marathon has had too much invested in it to not be the focus. But the real reason why I'm making this video is because at the end of the day, whether Marathon succeeds or fizzles out, all roads, in my opinion, for Bungie leads to Destiny 3. Now, nothing has been confirmed whether or not a D3 is actually going to be a thing. There's been rumors passed around here and there, but if you ask me, do I believe a D3 is being worked on right now? My only reply is, who the hell is working on it? No, really, guys. I often get people in the streams, it's like, yo, don't worry, Cross, right around the corner, D3 is something going to drop on us. You still have people out there that believe Marathon is actually Destiny 3. I'm not joking, fellas. There are people that believe that at any moment, Bungie is going to say, surprise, we're not making Marathon. We just debated you. And it was D3 all along. Fellas, there is no one making D3 because there is no one to make a D3. You can't make a D3 when half your studio is working on Marathon and the rest are doing everything they can just to keep Destiny 2 alive.
Okay. I kind of disagree with that. At least for me personally. I think the best way to put this is, if half the studio is really working on Destiny 2, what the fuck have they been doing? Because we're not even getting half of the content that we used to get in Destiny 2. We're getting, like, a third of the content in a year. Because we are just getting the same amount of content as 2 seasons. But when we used to be getting an expansion and 4 seasons. So if half the studio is working on it, then we should really be having the content of at least 3 seasons. But no, we haven't. We've been getting the same amount of content as 2 seasons. And are we getting half the amount? We're also getting them half the amount of raids and dungeons as well. So I just don't see that. I will say, I don't think we're like 5 years out from a Destiny 3 if it is in the works. Because based on, previous internal leaks or whatever, Sony has started to take over a lot of the upper management now. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony's like, hey, Destiny 3, they could have just had talks about this even like a year or two ago at this point. Maybe not 2 years ago, but at least a year at this point. And I will say they could probably just use the engine that they used to make Marathon. They could just make some changes to it and then just do Destiny 3 in that engine. Because we really don't. I don't think we know what engine Tiger Engine. I mean, I don't think we know what engine Marathon's using. We don't know if it's using the same engine that Destiny 2 is using, which is the Tiger Engine, or not. But yeah. So. But also, when Marathon releases, when the finish line is crossed, a lot of people are just going to come back to Destiny. A lot of the people are going to start transferring back over to Destiny 2. Because, being real here, Marathon is not going to have the staying power that Destiny has had. It's not. It just isn't. In my opinion. And I will say, a lot of Sony's going to suffer the most for this, because they pivoted so hard into live services, but live service games, there's going to be a crash, right? There's going to be a crash. We're in a live service bubble right now. If you know any economic terms, there's like a speculative bubble. This has happened multiple times in history, in economics, and currently it's happening with AI, where a particular product is being propped up as, it's being valued at way more than it's worth within this group of people, forming a bubble. However, when the actual value of the product reaches the rest of the masses, that bubble pops. It's kind of going on with Nvidia, OpenAI, and then there's a third company they're working through. They're in a circle in terms of buying each other's stuff. With live service games, studios are making these live service games because they think they're going to be super profitable. They push them out to the consumer. Consumers like, woo, live service game! Because, you had the games like Fortnite, PUBG, Warframe, Destiny, Destiny 2. You had OG Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. You have all these success stories, right? However, you're feeding the consumer the same thing over and over again. So at some point, the consumers, and I feel like this is starting to happen now more than ever, where we're starting to be like, okay, we're sick of live service games, go back to the single player. Single player games have been doing numbers. Okay, then, even though what consumers are telling the companies right now is like, hey, push live servers, live service games. By the time the consumers have already transmitted, hey, stop doing this, just go back to making single player games, it's going to be too late for a lot of studios, and they're going to be forcibly closed down. I mean, look at what happened to Concord. Look at what's happening to Bungie right now.
Which takes us to the point of this video, and something that I need my Destiny community to accept. And what I'm about to say, I know some of you are going to have a very tough time digesting this. Destiny 3 cannot and will not ever exist while Destiny 2 is still breathing. I know right now some of you are closing the YouTube app at this very moment. Some of you are throwing away your Mara cups and unsubscribing right now. But listen to me, Destiny community. Imagine this. Imagine Destiny 2 is in critical care, still breathing, still functioning, but at any moment now, D2 could pass away. Now, some of you would rather keep Destiny 2 on life support for as long as you can. Maybe it's your items in game, maybe it's the memories, maybe it's the raids that are still present there. Listen, I get it. But at some point, Bungie's gonna have to go in there with a pillow and take care of this thing. We have reached a point where Destiny itself has...
Okay, really quick here. I think a lot of players that have actually invested years and years and years into this game, I do think a lot of us would just rather just let the game not have any updates for a while, if that means a Destiny 3. How I would personally do it is have like a Rise of Iron style update, as like a Lost Hurrah, like you're putting that work, bring back Red War, Action First, like bring back all the content that is in the DCV, have Destiny 2 being an actual complete thing with all the OG raids and everything. You don't need to bring back Wrath of the Machine. You can save Wrath of the Machine for D3 or whatever, as like a reprised raid or whatnot. In my opinion, if Wrath of the Machine does get reprised, I would like to see in a Destiny 2 instead. Because I would rather Destiny 3 not already start off with the foot of like, okay, we're getting reprised raids, basically. But at this point, I think doing that, bringing back everything, I think you could do that feasibly. And just, after the Fate Saga is done, of course, and whatnot, and then kind of just be like, alright, y'all got this, we're gonna go make D3 real quick. Roadmap, we're making D3, just wait for us. And we'll be like, okay, absolute cinema. We cooking. Destiny, Bungie's cooking. But right now, it's just like we have no news. Content is just so bare bones right now.
Outgrown the infrastructure that it sits on. Not just from a technical perspective, although that is a big limiting factor to Destiny, but just creatively. Destiny has got to evolve. And as much as I enjoyed Renegades and the Renegade abilities, that's not the evolution that we need. It's not Kepler abilities and turning into balls, and dare I say, it's not even a red subclass. I'm not saying that a red subclass or a kinetic subclass or
it would feel awesome if we got one without like an actual major expansion.
Excitement back. But is it truly going to bring Destiny back to its glory days?
No.
Dude, I'm willing to bet my vaults that we're never going to reach the highs of Lightfall, Final Shape, Forsaken, Witch Queen ever.
Okay. I just want y'all to take a look at Steam charts here for a second. Where it says highs of, he started with Lightfall. Oh, Final Shape and Witch Queen. Witch Queen makes that sure, but Lightfall? The first one you mentioned is Lightfall? Like, yes, we had a lot of hype heading into Lightfall, but we also had some of the lowest of the lows during the year Lightfall. Like, we have had extreme lows every single year since Witch Queen has released. Since Witch Queen has released, we have had extreme lows every single year. That's not something that happened with the year Beyond Light. At least not to the effect of the literally every single year after that. So obviously 123, that is Final Shape, which is almost a year, almost 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. It's a year and a half ago, but again, we lost 49%, 42%. Literally in the next 2 months. That's bad for an expansion. That's not good for an expansion. The goal of expansions is to retain players. Obviously, are you going to have a big boost? Yes. And also keep in mind, this is the third most drop-in players. But you know, this is the second most drop-in players percentage-wise in Destiny's history. The only, I don't think there's actually one that beats it. I believe there's one that beats it. Right? No. This is Destiny 2's biggest drop percentage-wise in players in Destiny's history. Is the month at the Final Shape. Keep in mind, the month after that is number 3. Number 3. Because, well, it's top 5 still, because obviously these two are substantial drops as well. That's not a high expansion if you're bleeding that many players in back-to-back months. Lightfall was a little bit before that, right? Lightfall came before Final Shape, had bigger numbers. Not as big of a drop-off percentage-wise. Also, not as big of an increase either in terms of players. And, like, still very similar number Lightfall. And then Witch Queen did come out in 2022. I believe it was February. Yes. Oh, would you look at that? 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 Two green numbers? The biggest problem with Witch Queen is it came out at the around the same time. It was like around like it's the same. I believe it was in the same week as Elden Ring, so that's what Witch Queen had to deal with. But releasing at a similar time because no one expected Elden Ring to blow up as it did. Because even though Dark Souls 3 and obviously Bloodborne did numbers, Elden Ring really blew up from software. But again, Green Up was over the since between February and June, only 1 month and a drop in a drop, and it wasn't even as big as Lightfall or other things. And then obviously you did have Beyond Light. Yes, it was Beyond Light. I don't remember when. Wasn't it November of 2021? No, it was in here. Yes, it was November. And that's when Deep Stone Crypt released. And obviously, did you have drops? Yes. Was it as big as Final Shapes? No. Or Lightfalls? No. But also, what did you get here? You got a big bump and increase. Nullifying one of those, you did have some drops. We never hit the same lows. So the lowest we hit was 45k in the year of Beyond Light. Well, no, 44k in the year of Beyond Light. 44k. Keep in mind it was an extended year as well. 44k. Witch Queen releases. We already hit 38. We hit a new low. 38. And then Lightfall releases. We hit a new low, 32. Final Shape releases. Less than 3 months after we already beat it with 25k. So, Beyond Light has the best kind of numbers and a consistency basis. Lightfall has the best starting number, but Beyond Light has the best numbers in terms of consistent year. Witch Queen is a close second, but Lightfall and Final Shape completely destroyed it. So yeah.
Inside of Destiny 2. And that's because Destiny 2 concluded. The Final Shape was it. And so many people I have talked to.
This is also another reason why we dropped a lot of players.
Streams. Hell, I was playing High Guard and randomly matched someone who was telling me that he used to play Destiny 2. And I asked him, when did you stop playing? And he said, Final Shape. So many people stopped after the Final Shape. Why? Because for the love of God, it was called the Final Shape.
So for me personally, none of the people that I played with Destiny 2, like especially a lot back in the day, they actually stopped long before Final Shape. They stopped after Witch Queen. After halfway through Witch Queen, that's when they stopped. And then they came back briefly for Lightfall, and then they came back briefly for Final Shape. Almost everyone that I played with regularly back, when I first started, but also during the entire year of Beyond Light, they stopped in the year of Witch Queen, long before Final Shape. And honestly, Final Shape wasn't enough to bring back some people that I used to play with. Final Shape was not enough to bring back some people. Because at that point, Destiny had already, Bungie has already ruined so much of, goodwill and whatnot. Because keep in mind, from a community standpoint, we have not gotten regular communication on expansions or, enough communication on seasons since Beyond Light. Because during Witch Queen, Bungie started to just drop trailers at the last second, or just, they didn't drop any news until very last second. They did do this with Season of the Splicer as well, but I think we knew some stuff, but not a ton. So, at this point, Bungie already had bad faith by the time Lightfall, a little bit of bad faith by the time Lightfall came out, but Lightfall was hyped, we got Grapple, so some people came back, and then a lot of people did not return for Final Shape. So, for the general player, is this true? Probably, yes. Is that true just looking at the Steam chart numbers? No. Because if Final Shape was really the major jumping off for a lot of people, Lightfall would not have been Final Shape's numbers. Final Shape's numbers.
You say, hey, this is the ending to the Light and Darkness saga, and you have the main antagonist taken out. Well, hot damn it, fellas.
I will say, the secondary issue is that not a lot of Destiny players that even those that have been playing for as long as myself really cared about the Light and Darkness saga, because one, a lot of it's removed, aka Red Roar, Forsaken, but also you have to buy D1 to even play the first half of the Light and Darkness saga. So why should we care about a saga that we have started playing halfway through, right? And there's not a good catch-up mechanic in terms of story without just sitting there through a PowerPoint presentation, basically. it's the same situation as far as like why I didn't care about Kate's death. Either the first or the second time. So
you don't have to be clairvoyant to know that anything past that point is probably
because when you come into a part way through the story, you're not going to care about the rest of the story, really.
Lore of the Nine? Sure. I like Lodi. I'm getting down with Eris and Drifter and learning about the Nine and getting a lightsaber. But let's be real. Most, if not all, Destiny players are really paying attention to the next big bad that we know we eventually have to deal with. And that is the winner. The one who's been controlling things, not even intentionally, but controlling things behind the scenes this entire time. We will eventually reach a point where the flower game will unfold right in front of us. I see a day where we come face to face with the gardener, with the winnower, and we see the universe for what it is, at least in the world of Destiny. But my question to you is, would you rather experience...
I disagree. I don't think we'll ever see it. Unless a Destiny 3 happens.
Next chapter in the domain of
we're not going to see it, at least in Destiny 2. Not enough efforts really be putting into Destiny 2 for me to even believe that we're going to get anything like that.
Now you may be asking, what is it about a Destiny 3 that can bring to the table that Destiny 2 couldn't? I think optic-wise, everything. Destiny 3 is a new starting point.
Yep.
Destiny 3 is
we need a complete refresh.
New beginnings. A reason for old players to come back. From a technical standpoint, it could actually be the thing that Destiny needs to expand. We've known for quite some time now that Destiny has been struggling from memory limitations on our weapons to vault constraints. Guys, at one time, Bungie used to give us full-blown patrol spaces where you would bump up against other players all the time. However, the trend for the past few years has been pushing us away from that. One of the biggest reasons why I want us to move to...
Just to clarify, we have not gotten a public destination in 3 years now. 3 years, we have not gotten a public destination.
D3 is for a potential technical jump to allow Destiny to become the MMO shooter that we always wanted it to be. Look, we've been asking for this inside of Destiny 2, but let's just be frank, guys. Whether it's the Tiger engine, whether it's old gen
I would rather it needs to be to get pushed to Destiny 3.
Never gotten to that point. Just think about it. The last time you ever even ran into another squad out in the open attempting to do a raid was Vault of Glass back in Destiny 1.
I'm disappointed that this never continued.
A magical experience to be running around in a patrol zone on Venus to suddenly find 6 guardians.
But there were also reasons to be in patrol
spaces. On plates, and you couldn't help but go over there and wonder what the hell they were doing. And lo and behold, they were opening the Vault of Glass. And at that time, I would have never even known Vault of Glass existed had I not ran into guardians attempting to open it in that open patrol space. As much as I wish players were on Twitch or YouTube or paid attention to every single twab Bungie's ever dropped, the reality is there's still a lot of players that play a game and only interact with the game within the game itself. And to be quite honest with you, Destiny 2 has not done a good job of interacting with its community within the game itself. A lot of the information you have to give is outside of the game. Hell, for the longest time, the only way any of us could even understand the lore was by watching people like Bife or Mylan. And although I very much enjoy their content, the reality is Destiny 3 needs to be a game that allows players to find each other, explore with one another, and understand the world completely in the game itself. And external sources are just meant to enrich that experience. Now, I don't really even know where to begin as far as the technical jump. Is it a jump to Unreal Engine? Does Bungie do a
no. Please, Bungie, do not use Unreal Engine. Please do not use Unreal Engine. Do not use Unreal Engine. A lot of PCs still can't handle Unreal Engine 5. Please, especially a lot of studios don't even know how to fucking optimize, even still Unreal Engine 4. Please, just upgrade the Tiger engine, or build a new Tiger engine, preferably upgrade it, or do something with it, and then do it. Please do not use Unreal Engine. Please do not use Unreal Engine.
Do they even have that kind of time? You got me, man. All I'm saying is that if there's one,
because From Software uses their own engine. They don't use Unreal Engine
for a very long time. It is that feel of being that MMO shooter. I think many of us would love nothing more than to be dropped down into a huge open space with other players, with a world that truly feels alive and dangerous, with secrets that are out there that you can unlock, whether you have a pre-made fire team or just people you randomly bumped into while roaming around. One of the most peak moments inside of Destiny 2 history was when we randomly discovered the Whisper mission on Aya. Again, another thing where we just bumped around in a patrol zone to suddenly start seeing these blights pop up, and hot damn it, what a trip that was. Destiny 2 has lost that edge of surprise. Everything is broadcast, everything is disclosed.
Something that I will say here is my My personal equivalent was the Presage mission. That was my equivalent, was Presage. Because I didn't know that Presage was coming. I didn't know how it was arriving or anything. Because at this point in time, I hadn't like read a bunch of the TWABs or anything. So, like, both me and Torchic, we both were like, we just found it in a strike, and it was just really cool and unique because we weren't expecting it at all. But also, I will say something that was also kind of neat was Vex Calibur's thing, because you had to do the Vex little baubles in order to unlock the passage.
To us,
which is kind of cool.
Ruins that sense of exploration and mystery that a D3 desperately
I don't think we should be told when exotic missions are happening. I don't think we should be told.
That play D2. Like, there's a lot of people that's like, yeah, I wish the game had mystery again. I wish I didn't know which exotics were about to drop. And look, this is coming from somebody that goes to different capture events leading up to an.
Like, I do like knowing the exotic armor, but as far as exotic weapons go, I personally do not want us to know if an exotic mission is happening. I want us just to find it ourselves. To be like, ooh, brand new exotic mission. Like, it gives a lot of opportunities for even us YouTubers to do more stuff.
Expansion. But let's be real, guys. For years, even before they started doing these capture events, we already knew what was coming with every single expansion and season. Hell, it's broadcasted on every trailer. It's right there in your season pass.
To be fair, you also did see raid weapons in previous trailers.
There's going to be a guaranteed drop source. You simply just have to do the legendary campaign. And let me just say, even if those exotics are powerful, hell, some can even be build defining. They're not remembered in the same way that our exotics were back in Forsaken. And I bring up Forsaken because that's really the last time we had an immense amount of rarity inside of Destiny. But that level of rarity made you covet people with certain items. I wanted Ursa Furiosa and Shards of Galanor so bad when Forsaken dropped. Why? It's not because I saw a trailer. It's because I saw someone use it against me inside of Crucible. I saw someone use back-to-back blade barrages inside of PvE. And I looked up their exotic that they were wearing, and I saw thy Shards of Galanor. And I knew I needed that exotic. When that Titan was going balls deep into me and all of my teammates at the same time, and he had wall hacks, overshield, and extra damage, I needed to know what that man was rocking. And lo and behold, it was a one-eye mask. When Wave Splitter was instantly melting me every time.
I think this is kind of a double-edged sword, a double-edged problem here, because Syndicate Citrus, yes, has the way we've gotten exotic armor pieces been asked for a very long time, yes. However, exotic armors as a whole have not been strong since, I would say, probably Witch Queen. I think Witch Queen was the last time we had, at least as a Titan, obviously Warlocks and Hunters, your situations are a little bit different. But at least for Titan, we have not really had an exotic that's like, oh, everybody's like, oh, I want that exotic. Oh, that's a must-have exotic. Hey, how'd you get that shit? Since Lordly Splendor, during Witch Queen. I would say, at least for the PvP side of things, for PvE, Curious of the Falling Star was the last time. Season of the Chosen dropped Curious of the Falling Star. I think, but in terms of recent time, in my opinion, Lordly Splendor for Titans was the last time we had a situation where it's like, oh, you see that exotic? I want that exotic. I want that exotic. Give me that exotic. Give me that exotic. In terms of exotic weapons, we really haven't had one, like, best in slot in a very long time. In a very, very long time. So, there's just a lot of exotic armor pieces. Yes, they're very common drops now. But it's not just that, it's also exotic armor as a lot of these newer exotic armors have just been terrible. At least for times, they've just been terrible.
I peeked around a
compared
corner,
to
I knew I had to have it. But these
exotic
were
armor's
locked behind RNG, and Bungie was bold enough back then to make things rare. And not only did they make things
we need rarity.
They locked things behind certain.
Like, I do like the Taken Crystal being rarity, being rare.
Now, this is where I'm going to lose the rest of you. In my opinion, one of the beginnings of the end for Destiny is when they took away pinnacle weapons. Now, for those that don't remember, or maybe you didn't play back then, pinnacle weapons were essentially a hybrid. It was a legendary, but they were almost as strong, and in some cases, just as strong as exotics. Weapons like Luna's Howl, Not Forgotten, Mountaintop, Recluse, Breakneck, 21% Delirium. You see how I'm like rattling off these weapons?
Those of you that are more recent players, or like players, from my more time period, there was a rocket launcher that was called the Ascendancy that was pretty good, but the big boy himself, Null Composure. Oh, if y'all remember Null Composure, you know, drop me in the comments if y'all remember Null Composure. Oh, best fusion rifle. Oh my goodness, I missed Null Composure. And it was a very long time before we got Reservoir Burst on, on the fusion rifle again. Because I feel like that's kind of how they tested perks and whatnot, by putting them on a pinnacle weapon. However, that era it basically ended when, like, Vanguard tokens and whatnot got removed. And especially when bounties got removed, like, it was killed at that point. But Null Composure was so good. So good.
I don't have to go fetch these weapons in their names.
I still have it.
These things are lodged right in my noggin. Why? Because every one of these weapons were absolutely meta. They were truly pinnacle weapons, and they required you to do certain feats. Most notably, the one everyone hated the most, play PvP, and in some cases required you to play competitive. You want to know what absolutely revitalized the competitive playlist?
Damn, young
Aztecross. Pinnacle weapons. So many people were grinding comp to get high enough rank to get Luna's Howl, and then if you got max rank, you got an even better version of Luna's Howl called Not Forgotten. Dude, Bungie was so bold with this. And yes, there was a lot of players mauling over the fact that they didn't have these weapons, but that's the point. Yeah. You're supposed to covet thy fellow Guardian. If you don't covet them, what the hell's the point? You and I both have the same loot. The hell with that?
It's not just weapons. It's not just weapons. Look, you know, when I was first playing Destiny 2, right? I saw Guardians in sick-ass raid armor, fashion and shit. Like, I was like, ooh, I want that armor set. How do I get that armor set? And I went back and played D1. I was like, oh, Crotazen. That Crotazen armor looks so sick in D1. Oh my goodness. The Ada Triumph armor in Destiny 1 looks so good. Right? So, seeing a lot of these endgame players, I was like, oh, I want that armor piece. Oh, but I need a god roll armor of that armor piece, so I never take that off. Like, oh, fashion, which fashion was a true endgame. And now Transmog has kind of ruined that in a way, but it is kind of nice because there's a little bit more freedom with stuff. You just have to have unlocked the armor piece, and then, you know, you're good to go. Basically, you can get that fashion done or whatever. But man, seeing, and also of course, Psycho got me into Destiny 2, and he showed me like Whisper of the Worm. I was like, oh, that weapon looks sick. I need that weapon. So I worked my ass off. I worked my behind off to get that Whisper of the Worm.
I'm out here trying to measure my peen, and how I measure it is by the loot in my vault. And hot damn, I want my loot to be bigger. Now, some of you are gonna.
The average Destiny 2 player has too many guns in their vault.
Removing pinnacle weapons, which is what they eventually did, was the big.
I've never had a major vault issue in my entire 5 years of playing this game.
The coveting of loot ended with that. After that point, everything.
Crafting did ruin it. Hot take, but crafting ruined the game a little bit.
You knew exactly where to go to get that piece. It wasn't difficult. All you had to do was pay for the new expansion, and boom, you have it.
The path to loot is too direct.
Destiny 3 cannot have the same business model, and in this case, loot model that Destiny 2 has had. You have to create loot that other Guardians covet, and you'll never get there by just simply handing out free candy. By the way, this is a lesson that Bungie learned a long time ago. They handed out free candy back in D2 vanilla launch, when you can get every exotic in the game by simply doing heroic public events. Which takes me to the final point here with this video. Bungie, you have got to quit repeating mistakes. The mistake of just handing out free candy is just one example. The portal is another mistake that Bungie themselves didn't even make before.
It doesn't feel like Destiny going through the portal and whatnot.
During the GDC panel in 2016, Bungie explains how they created essentially what was the portal, but they eventually scrapped it because it took the soul out of Destiny. Fast forward to 2025, I think you know the rest. Bungie still added the portal, and I know there's some things worth trying. There's some things worth testing, and hell, I guess if there's anywhere you should test things, it should be here in Destiny 2. But if this was a feature that you yourselves analyzed as being bad back in 2013 when you originally removed it from your game, then fellas, it's a good chance that's still bad today. And objectively,
I miss just being able to just run on strike.
But I personally think it's the straw that broke the camel's back. What the portal really represented was the loss of mystery and exploration inside of Destiny, a trend that Bungie has continued to push every single year. No matter how many times we've said we want the mystery back in Destiny, we want a sense of exploration, we want the game to feel like an MMO. If a Destiny 3 is being made right now, this needs to be an opportunity for Bungie to really sit down and narrow in on what worked and what absolutely didn't work. And I think the core North Star for Bungie going forward in regards to making a D3 needs to be what adds to the soul of Destiny. That right there. What is it that contributes to...
I do think they could take a page out of Diablo 4's book and reset the Guardian's gear. Not every year, but like, I think they need to have a plan as far as, okay, how many years do we want to keep Destiny 3 before we move on to Destiny 4? So then but also like, how can we retire older games like Destiny 1? How do we retire Destiny 1? So that obviously there's not too much strain on servers or whatnot. How do we retire Destiny 2? For me, it would be putting the game completely offline, or just putting things on player server side or whatever. So find some way to do it so that they're less strained. Because this game's been going on, like Destiny 2 has been going on for a very, very long time.
The soul of Destiny, and that is what
the game's
makes
fucking
your
huge
game
in terms of
memorable.
file size.
It's what makes it stand out, and it's really what Destiny has lost. Destiny is still a fun game to play. I still enjoy jumping in, shooting weapons, popping bad guys, playing PvP.
The combat stuff is good.
Wielding a lightsaber is pretty cool, and dare I say, I even enjoy the narrative surrounding the 9. But that soul
it
of
happens
Destiny
too slowly,
has
but
just
yeah,
eroded over time. Whether that's decisions by Bungie, whether it's player fatigue, whether it's just the ending to a saga, whatever the case, I believe only a Destiny 3 can recapture that. Now, to circle back to our original point, Destiny 3 cannot exist while Destiny 2 is still breathing. That doesn't mean Bungie needs to shut down Destiny 2, but it definitely means Bungie is going to have to stop putting out content in Destiny 2. And look, I play this game, I make content.
I think they could just put out, like, bring the stuff from Red Dwarf, Tangled Shores back.
Go dark, then so be it, man. And I guarantee some people are still going to be playing Destiny 2. But my big concern with this is that by trying to keep Destiny 2 alive, by trying to drip feed it content, this is going to erode and potentially even push off any potential of a Destiny 3. Now, I've mentioned different suggestions.
It's also going to create more bad blood between the old Destiny 2 players and Bungie right now.
Destiny 2 and Destiny 3, of course, only do it if it's actually something easy to do. But hear me out, guys. Destiny Classic. I'm just throwing it out there, fellas. You can give us a Destiny Classic in Destiny 2 with the 9 saga, wrap it up, give us Classic to mess around with for 2-3 years. We'll probably blow through it in less than 6 months, but it would be a good time. And then we all wait for a D3. So that's it, guys. Those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching.
Great video from Aztecross. I think he's missing a couple of points as well. First off, the raid scene right now is completely dead. It is actually dead. Friday afternoon, I was checking around, and literally there was like maybe 1 or 2 posts for each raid. A lot of them didn't have any. Same goes for dungeons outside of Equilibrium. And by the way, Desert Perpetual only had 2 posts. So, like, a lot of your veterans are just gone at this point. They're just completely gone. Okay. As I wrap up this video here, what do I plan on doing? Well, first off, because obviously Shadow and Order is getting delayed, most likely until May. I have logged on, I've at least logged on and done at least an activity or something like that every single week in Destiny 2 since I've been playing the game. Since I started in Season of Arrivals, I have never taken a week off. Actually, there's only been 2 weeks that I have. One because I was extremely sick, and another another week because my grandfather passed. Those are the only 2 times I have taken a long break from Destiny 2, and like long being like a week. Even when Stellar Blade was releasing, I was playing the shit out of that game. Like, Torchin can attest that I could not put that game down. I still logged on to Destiny 2. I did an activity and whatnot. At the time, I think it was dailies or whatever, or weekly bounties or whatever. I was doing my thing. But for the first time, I might just stop. Like, log on, see what's available for Bright Dust, see if the Taken Shade or Taken Armor are available, then just log off. Of course, I'm waiting for the Taken Shade to come in because there is a particular fashion I want to do for the Taken lightsaber build. That's going to be the final build. But also the secondary reason is I need to preserve Legend of Acreus being my #1 exotic exotic kills. Because Wolfsbane got a little close for my liking. So I got more kills with Legend of Acreus. But yeah, it's Joe over. Not really. But yeah, we're going to see what Shattered Order brings in May. Until then, y'all will be getting y'all's first Descendant video on Daya herself. And the new story stuff and whatnot. My thoughts on it, the thoughts on it and everything. Do keep in mind, in May, 007 releases, that will be a full playthrough. Also, Lego Batman co-op releases as well, like Lego Batman games release as well. That could very well become a stream game. But, well, it's kind of one of those we'll wait and sees. We'll wait and see. As far as streams in the future go, Destiny 2 will be, obviously I'm going to be streaming the dungeon tonight, and if breakfast is available, we'll be discussing, what we would like to see from a Destiny 3. We'll be having some Destiny 2 discussion, so go ahead, pull up to that thing. Outside of that, I do have a Dragon Ball video coming. Next month, Dark Souls 3 10-year anniversary stream will be happening. So yeah, it was on that note though. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate y'all for watching. It was on that note though. I will catch y'all on the flip side.